Welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Serpent, and I have Steve here with me, CEO of Bullion FX. Steve, welcome on the show.
Thanks, Ivan. Good to be on.
No, I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are. I know how ambitious the mission of Bullion FX is. It's been a while since I've spoken about Bullion FX on the channel, so I thought what a great opportunity throughout this, almost the end of May, to touch base and hear it from the CEO himself.
Thanks, Ivan. Thank you.
For the followers, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
So my first sort of entry into financial markets is probably the carbon industry. So I was in a business with basically trading carbon certificates, and this is pre-Bitcoin, right? At the time, it was the largest unregulated financial market in the world, and so we developed mechanisms like building platforms to allow easy to access that and that kind of stuff. And so crypto for me became interesting when it became the largest unregulated financial market in the world, and simply for the reason of arbitrage. Usually when financial markets grow, you have opportunities to arbitrage price and buy on one exchange and sell on another. And so we're kind of looking for that, I guess, and that's what sort of got us into the space originally.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's definitely been quite a ride since 2008. Even with the recent like the highs of November and the lows that we're experiencing at the moment in the market, there's still so much more room for regulations to come in and just to make it not so much a cowboy town, which it can be. Like we saw what happened with Terra, the attack and all the major impacts that it's had on the market. But tell me, like you've been able to combine blockchain, gold, the financial systems, and you have one of those security certificates security certificates, which is extremely difficult to get. So walk me through, like Bullion FX and, like from your point of view as well, like how, how it's been, throughout these last couple of years working on it.
So it's been interesting. I mean, if you talk about, oh, sorry, Ivan, I lost my internet.
It's all right.
Yeah. So sorry, I'll just give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna switch. Okay. So yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, for us, when you look at creating a decentralized ecosystem, I won't use the word bank, but like decentralized financial ecosystem, it's so important to build out, traditional savings components, debt components, or, yield and DeFi components, and then asset components. And, for us, it's been a pretty big journey. Like that was always the vision, because, you still got the old world with record low rates and the new world with record high rates. And, when you can build a bridge between these two worlds, a lot of cool things can happen, and not only on the customer side, but also for brokers and financial planners and financial advisors and that whole regulated side of the market, right? Allowing them to have access to regulated legal products that give investors access to this space. And that's always been important. But, for us, it's always also been, a case of having to build solid liquidity underneath it and solid backing, because this industry is just not evolved on a stable coin front. It's just not evolved to an institutional grade. And so it's really hard when you're building, reputable products to build them on something that's unstable, or maybe perceived as unstable, or maybe your customers perceive as unstable. And so that's always been a problem. And, you can talk about, well, how do you want to create a stable base for something like a decentralized ecosystem? And you can talk about, well, okay, maybe we can create a stable fiat coin and, have that audited and do a better job than Tether. And a lot of people are pursuing that. But My view is really simple. It's through this industry on a fiat backbone. On one hand, this industry is saying we are the new fiat, we are transitioning to the financial system, we are going to build the base currency. But then people are building yield and DeFi and asset protocols and NFTs on USDT backbones and USDC backbones, and so that's really ironic to me. So when you're talking about how do you build that solid liquid backbone to support the evolution of this industry, it has to be gold. Gold is a great starting currency base, and maybe it evolves from that, but it can't be fiat, and it needs to be institutional grade. And so that's what kind of led us to gold, from that perspective. And then once that kind of led us to gold, we realized that we could beat the guys in the gold industry, because the whole gold industry is prehistoric itself. Like, people buy a gram of gold for whatever, $50, say, and they add 50 cents to it and sell it, and that's the way the whole industry works, from like refiners to retailers to brokers to private wealth to advisors. And we have the ability to just almost kill that, because we make money on our system, right? Like, when people go into yields or DeFi or Vault, and I'll talk about Vault in a sec, but we're talking about synthetics and tokenized shares and that assets. But when people do that stuff, Bullion FX and the holders of Bull tokens do well. And they do well off people utilizing their wealth and not off buying and selling of gold. So it's ironically led us to this place where we think we can, although it wasn't a core aim for us, but to seriously compete with the gold industry, because it's spot price, it's audited, it's liquid, it's transferable, it's redeemable. And the big difference between, I guess, there are gold tokens out there, but they're adding spreads, they're adding margins, and it's an industry that, when I talk about paying institutional grade, it's an industry that's very much here, buy a token from us and find your own buyer, or go on an exchange and sell it type of thing. Nobody's actually linked it to the global spot market. And people ask me all the time, but what if someone bought a lot of gold on Bullion FX? Oh, what if someone bought $1 billion of gold? Well, the answer is, it would be the same as if somebody bought $1 billion of gold on the global spot market, because it's linked. You're not constrained by that huge lack of liquidity. So people in the blockchain world, I find in this space, largely have sort of blockchain vision, and through, again, bridging the real world to the new world, even in gold, just yields huge benefit. And so we've been pretty busy building that out. Like, that's a pretty big job. There are 8 different technical projects that we've got going on to build that ecosystem out, and they're all being built at different rates and have different hurdles, and so we're looking forward to launching gold in the next quarter or so, with some good partners, and gearing up for that. But that's what we've been doing, and UST as well has probably helped us a bit. I think, I don't know if you want to go through that, but I think it's good timing for us with what's happening. And I think we're starting to see some exchanges take notice of the importance of reputable stable coins as well, which is good.
Yeah, I think the timing. Is definitely spot on, and I think you're right. Like, we're all in this not bubble, right? But the whole industry is into this whole. This industry is the next big thing. Like, it's the one that's going to take over. But it's got this hypothesis. But then how? And how do you make that stable? So run me through the bolts that you mentioned a few moments ago.
Sorry, what was that? You just cut out.
Run me through the bolts and how that's going to work.
So within our ecosystem, we've got obviously exchange, yield, and DeFi, and this thing called Vault. And Vault encompasses the future development in the industry. So any type of asset. And so, it could be an NFT, if you're into that. It could be tokenizing a car, or tokenized property, or, tokenized commodities, whatever application is built in this industry. We want to give it the ability to be built over gold and be traded over gold, and allow people to transfer wealth from those assets back into the crypto world without having to go through fiat as well. And so Vault is simply that. Now, if we look at, okay, what could be in there in the future, we talk about tokenized mortgages and assets and all that stuff, but what can be in there now? And I can definitely talk about that and our vision for that as very much synthetics and tokenized shares. We're very interested in running an initial project of NASDAQ G, which is NASDAQ over gold. And we especially think, a lot of people are building synthetics on the blockchain and have a vision to build tokens that represent shares on the blockchain. And, I think that makes a lot of sense, because the generation coming behind us are trading crypto, and they may not trade on the ASX or NASDAQ. And, it may be up to participants like us to create those products, but, nobody is doing that over gold. And I think that's just really important. I mean, doing it over gold adds a different dynamic to investing. Gold is seen as a bit of a flight to safety in financial markets. And again, it's ironic, you have to go through shares, through fiat, to get from shares to gold as well. But it will enable people to use their gold as security for buying, trading shares and that kind of stuff. So we're exploring synthetic protocols on that. We're exploring the licensing and regulations around that. We're exploring models of, to dive in deep, of either broker backing in that space, or synthetic mechanisms where collateral is staked and prices transferred between wallets, and correlates to the market. So we're going down that path, and we're working with some pretty good partners there. But that's a good example of Vault. That's an asset that people can, thanks to blockchain, own on the blockchain, and therefore open doors of, earning yields on them, using them as security in DeFi, trading directly into the market, having the ability to transfer those globally, do those sorts of things. I think yields will be very interesting in this space, because I'm curious whether, a token representing something traded might be able to generate a yield as well, and give incentives over and above stock market. And I think when you look at that kind of stuff, that's really exciting, because we're not just saying, blockchain's cool, let's create a token that represents a stock. We're actually finding ways that blockchain can add a huge amount of value to those underlying stocks and assets, right? And that goes through, so that might be, a phase one, and we're seeing the industry grow that way, so it makes sense. But that's a principle you can roll out through any asset that starts to become encompassed by the blockchain industry and relevant to the blockchain industry.
Yep.
And so
that makes sense. That makes sense. And so, as the CEO of of an organization that is tackling such a big goal, how do you find keeping the team in line and working with them? Because I would imagine there's people from all over that are working with the company. But how do you find yourself keeping everyone on the same mission? From a day-to-day task or in development process?
You get a good COO and a good exec team around you that can manage all that, because it's really important that, a lot of people get distracted, and, when you form a business, and you have some growth, you get distracted with operations and staff and managing tasks and all that stuff. And, we've fallen in this trap as well, right? It's really hard to keep a focus on product and the mission. And so it's really important to have a good team around to manage that kind of stuff, because if I dove into that, I could spend 100 hours a week there, but a product wouldn't be built. And so it's really important. And so Adil, our COO, has done a great job on that. And, under him, we have, I guess divisions, from like marketing, sales to tech, to operations, to auditing, to legal, to compliance, to now yields, and now DeFi, and now, we'll have to have a team representing, this synthetic build, and, and then you got a board of advisors, and, then you've got a lot of shareholders. We've been lucky enough to have some shareholders that can add some real value to us as well. So, that's also really important to manage and engage in the business and use for our growth. And that's what we're looking for as well, a quality team.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really, really good insight. And so what are some of the key timelines at the moment? What are, some of the things that are really, really important coming up over the next couple of months for Bullion FX?
Yeah, good question. So we launched our Bull token, I think 6 months ago, maybe. So the next things are we're launching our first yield pools. So we've actually already launched a yield pool, but it's only open to shareholders in the business and staff, because we've been going through, the legal, hurdles and getting that right, paper and going through typical beta testing. But that's been going quite well. Everyone's quite excited. We've now got a head of yields managing that. That's a really cool pool. That's basically like decentralized mining on the cloud, mining, running verification nodes and, across multiple chains, and getting a really good return. But that yield pool gives people the ability to invest in that space for a very short time period, because traditionally the model with mining is you have to get in and you're committed for 3 years and all that kind of stuff. And you can't trade and you can't use it as security and all that. So we tokenize that. And that's our first yield pool. And we did that because we actually wanted to just build a yield pool that has a gold output, a decentralized gold mine. We thought, people physically dig for gold and mine, or we can dig for gold and, by running verifications and paid out in gold kind of thing. So we're looking forward to the launch of that. That's scheduled for 1st July. And then after that, and sorry, the launch for 1st July is a bit of a beta test as well. So we'll go through that and then come out with, an announcement on the website and open the doors to that. We've got a waiting list now happening for that. DMI will probably be limited as well. So it's kind of like first signed up, first served basis. So it's putting your name on if interested. And then so after DMI, we then launch the gold token itself. So we're just gearing up. I guess it's important when launch the gold token, we're going to launch it with a leading exchange in Australia and some leading exchanges globally. And we've got some pretty cool ambassadors from the sporting world and all that kind of stuff to come on board. We're probably going to do a roadshow around Australia with Mark Boris, a bunch of seminars about that and tie that in. So that's coming up in Q3. I think that's like August, September, Q3.
Awesome.
We then launch, we launched a bridge between gold and bull. So you can have gold on multi-chains and bull on multi-chains, etc. So I launched that around Q3, Q4. Then we launched Bull version 2. So Bull version 2 is probably going to go live 1st December. We're going to announce that shortly. Bull version 2 will be multi-chain. So anyone that owns Bull now will automatically have a Bull V2 one-to-one, and we'll work with the exchange to facilitate that. We'll release more info as we get close to launch.
Awesome.
Bull version 2 will have a yield pool for bull holders. So the yield pool will have a really good return on staking bull, which will be fixed for 5 years, and then go to market based. And so we'll launch that, and then we will start to launch basically a trading platform towards the start of Q4, right? And then that'll be the whole, birth of the ecosystem. So, yield pools and gold price stuff will be launched before that launch of the, I guess, the UX for the ecosystem. But when that comes, that will then open the doors for people to, simply, operates like an exchange, but has a huge decentralized component. So the ability for people to deposit money, buy and sell gold, really easily at spot price, and go down that path. And then, that platform will evolve as yield and DeFi involved components get plugged into it. And so that will probably never end. That will be an eternal build. And then next year we start to look at, more functionality on the user account side. So like debit cards, decentralized wallets. We're looking at working with guys like Cool Wallet X. They've got a really cool, cold wallet that can store gold and stuff like that. And yeah, growing out the system there. So that's probably, sort of the next, I guess, 9 months or so. On the roadmap. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is a very, very solid timeline of lots of things happening. And it's exciting because even from the first time that I spoke about Bullion effects on the channel till now, you can see all the updates. And that's the cool thing about knowing about projects well in advance. But yeah, I'm excited. And let me know in advance as those dates get confirmed, because I'll definitely be attending some of them.
Yeah, definitely will do. We've got a pretty good marketing team now. We've only really been ramping up a phase 1 of that in the last few months, but with our launch here and ambassadors and all that, we've got a few good sponsorships as well. And yeah, some very exciting partners. So we're really looking at, ramping that up. Get through the year and the system gets up.
That's awesome. Well, look, thank you so very much for your time this morning. To jump on and have this and share this with the Crypto Serpent community. I'm going to be putting in the links, so that people can follow the social channels if they want to jump in, and be involved in the communities, where the discussions are happening, and of course, links to the website and everything. But really appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, pleasure, Ivan. For you anytime.
Thank you.